ever get that feeling, like you're surrounded by people, maybe even friends, family, but there's this hollow space inside.
Ah,
Like
yeah.
you're the Tin Man, all shiny on the outside,
Right.
but missing that essential something.
Yeah.
Well, get this. In the original book, the Tin Man wasn't always made of metal.
Oh, really?
He started as a real guy, a love-struck woodsman
Okay.
named Nick Chopper.
It's fascinating how that story, even back in Oz, captures something very real about loneliness.
Isn't that?
This idea of being dismembered,
Hmm.
losing pieces of yourself, literally in the Tin Man's case, right?
Right, yeah.
And with each loss, feeling that connection to the world, to love, to your own purpose, weaken.
Okay, so let's unpack this a little bit. So it's like each missed connection, each time we feel misunderstood or alone, it chips away at who we are, leaves us feeling, I don't know, incomplete.
Exactly. And just like the Tin Man seeks to be remembered, to find his heart again, well, today's deep dive is about understanding how we can do the same.
Love it.
We're using Ernie Vecchio's book, A Tale of Loneliness, as our guide. And let me tell you, he does not sugarcoat things.
This is not your grandma's self-help book.
No.
Vecchio comes right out and says that chronic loneliness is as bad for you as smoking 15 cigarettes a day.
Wow.
Think about that. That last time you felt truly deeply alone.
Yeah.
Vecchio is saying that feeling, if it becomes a constant state, is doing as much damage to your body as a pack and a half of cigarettes every single day.
Right.
We're talking heart disease, stroke, depression, you name it.
And it's not just in your head either. Loneliness isn't just about feeling, sad or isolated. It triggers a full-blown stress response in your body.
Really?
It's like your system is on high alert 24/7, which over time wears you down, physically and emotionally.
Which kind of begs the question, if it's so terrible for us, why aren't we talking about this more? Why does it feel so, I don't know, awkward, so vulnerable to even admit we're lonely?
That's a huge part of what Vecchio tackles in the book.
Mm-hmm.
He argues that we live in a world, especially now, that glorifies self-reliance.
Right.
It's like admitting you need someone,
Yeah.
that you crave connection. It's seen as some sort of weakness.
So we're all supposed to be these islands, totally self-sufficient.
Yes.
And if we're not, well, something's wrong with us.
Precisely. And here's the kicker. That very pressure, that go-it-alone mentality, Vecchio argues that that's a huge part of what's fueling this loneliness epidemic in the first place.
Oh, wow.
It's like this terrible cycle that we get stuck in.
Okay, so if trying to tough it out solo is a recipe for disaster, how do we break free? How do we rewrite that narrative? That's where it gets really interesting, because Vecchio's central argument is that it's not our hearts that lead us into loneliness.
Okay.
It's our egos.
Our egos.
Yeah, our egos make us lonely. Explain that one.
Okay. So think about it this way. Your ego, it's driven by conditions and expectations.
Right.
It's constantly trying to figure out how to get love, how to be accepted. But it's coming at it with this whole laundry list of rules.
Oh, yeah.
Demands. It's like trying to build a house using duct tape instead of, actual building materials.
Okay, I'm seeing the analogy here. So the duct tape, that represents our ego's attempts to force connections.
Exactly.
Which we all know duct tape, it's not going to hold forever.
Right.
But the house, no, that's interesting. Is that like the life we're trying to build, that sense of belonging, of purpose? We're all searching for that, right?
Precisely. Vecchio argues that you can't build a life, a true sense of belonging, with duct tape and ego. For that, you need the heart. Which, the heart doesn't come with all those preconditions.
There's the heart, it just connects, It doesn't need all that fanfare.
Exactly. And there's this beautiful concept Vecchio talks about, longing. He describes it as like the heart's memory. This pure, innate desire for connection that exists long before our egos come in and start, building walls.
So it's like we're born knowing how to connect.
Yeah.
But somewhere along the way, we pick up all this baggage that makes us forget.
In a way, yeah. I think that's right. And that forgetting that the amnesia of the heart, that's what Vecchio believes is leading to this epidemic of loneliness.
Wow. That's kind of a mind-blowing thought, isn't it? That maybe we already have the answers inside us. We just need to clear out the clutter to access them.
Yeah.
But how do we actually do that? If we've lost touch with our hearts, how do we find our way back? How do we remember, as Vecchio puts it?
It's a $1 million question, right? Yeah. And the good news is Vecchio, he offers some guidance. He suggests starting by really examining our our beliefs about connection, those deeply ingrained ideas we've picked up about what it means to be loved, to be worthy of connection in the first place.
You mean like questioning those voices in our heads that say like, you're not good enough or you're better off alone? Those ones.
Exactly. And to help us do that, Vecchio introduces this really powerful concept, the gentle observer within each of us.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Break this down for me.
Okay, so imagine this. There's this wise, quiet part of you, right?
Okay.
That can witness your thoughts and emotions without judgment. It's like having an inner therapist almost.
Oh, I like that.
Who helps you sort through all the noise and rediscover what your heart truly needs.
So instead of getting like swept away by those negative thoughts, we can learn to observe them without letting them like call the shots.
Precisely. And here's the amazing part. Vecchio believes everyone has this inner observer.
Really?
It's always there, waiting for you to tap into its wisdom.
Okay, so how do we actually tune into this gentle observer? Is there an app for that?
I wish. But seriously, though, Vecchio suggests practices like mindfulness, meditation. Those could be really helpful here. They train your mind to pay attention to your thoughts and feelings without getting carried away by them. It's like building a muscle, that ability to observe without judgment.
So next time I'm like spiraling down that I'm all alone rabbit hole, I can like hit pause, be like, okay, interesting feeling, but what's really going on here?
Exactly. And from that place of self-awareness, you can start making choices that are more aligned with your heart's desire for genuine connection.
Yeah.
And that leads us to another crucial point Vecchio makes. It's not just about connecting with anyone.
Right.
It's about finding your tribe.
So quality over quantity when it comes to relationships.
Absolutely. Vecchio says it's about finding those people who not only share your values, your passions, but who resonate with your heart, who see and appreciate the real you, quirks and all. He calls it like-mindedness with heart, which, let's be honest, way more fulfilling than just agreeing on the same pizza toppings.
Totally. And that actually reminds me of something else from the book that really resonated with me. The idea that we mistake our egos for our true identities.
It's such a common trap, isn't it?
Yeah. It is. It's like we become so identified with those limiting beliefs, those insecurities, that we end up hiding behind them instead of letting people see the real us.
And that creates this deep sense of loneliness because we're not allowing ourselves to be fully seen.
Right.
And known for who we truly are. But here's the thing. Vecchio reminds us that our true nature, it's deeply interconnected.
We're all part of something bigger than ourselves. I like the sound of that.
Exactly. He even points out this fascinating, it's an etymological connection, really. But the word alone, it actually comes from the words all one.
Wow, I never knew that. It's like on a deep level, we're wired for connection, even if we've built up these walls that make us forget.
Right. And when we start to really embody that interconnectedness, when we approach life from a place of we instead of me, it changes everything about how we relate to others and the world around us.
So it's not just about finding our people, it's about recognizing that we already belong to this larger tribe, humanity itself.
Exactly. And that realization can be incredibly empowering because it reminds us that we're not alone in this journey. We all have that same fundamental need for connection, for belonging, for love.
Which is a good thing because, as Vecchio points out, going it alone, it's not really an option if we want to truly thrive. We need those reciprocal relationships, those give and take connections to be our best selves.
Absolutely. And one of the most powerful ways to cultivate those relationships, according to Vecchio, is by finding purpose, meaning in our lives.
So it's not enough to just surround ourselves with good people. We also need to feel like our lives have a purpose, right? Like we're contributing something meaningful.
Exactly. Vecchio talks about how finding your purpose, it helps you connect with something larger than yourself, which can be incredibly fulfilling. And it really combats that feeling of emptiness that often comes with loneliness.
It's like when you're passionate about something, when you feel like you're making a difference, it naturally draws other people to you, people who share those passions.
Absolutely. And those shared passions, they create a foundation for deep, lasting connections. But here's the thing, Vecchio. He cautions against pursuing purpose from a place of ego.
Okay.
He reminds us that true purpose, it's about serving something greater than ourselves, not about, achieving personal glory. or validation.
So it's not about becoming the next Elon Musk or Oprah.
Right.
But it's about finding something, anything we're passionate about, and using it to make a positive impact, right?
Yes.
Even in small ways.
Precisely. It could be, volunteering in your community,
Yeah.
mentoring a young person, starting a garden even.
Yes.
Anything that lights you up inside and contributes to the well-being of others.
And that shift in perspective, that focus on giving back, that's ultimately what brings us back to the heart, wouldn't you say?
Exactly, because when we're living from a place of service, when we're focused on making a difference in the lives of others, that's where true fulfillment, true connection resides.
Which brings me to one of my favorite takeaways from the book, Vecchio's, his powerful equation. Gratitude is love squared.
I love that.
Is that great?
It's so good.
It really gets to the heart of his message, which is that gratitude, it shifts your focus from what you lack to what you have.
Yes.
And in that space of abundance, you're just so much more open to giving and receiving love.
It's like going from black and white to full color. Suddenly you see all these opportunities around you to give and receive love, to build those meaningful connections that we're all craving.
And to think, it all starts with recognizing that loneliness, it isn't a life sentence.
Right.
It's a signal. It's a call to action to reconnect with our hearts and the world around us. Just like, remember the Tin Man?
Of course.
We talked about him earlier. Like the Tin Man, we have the power to fill that void, to become remembered, as Vecchio says, if we're willing to do the work.
Exactly. It's a journey, for sure, but it's one worth taking. And it starts with that simple but profound shift in perspective from I'm alone to I am all one.
Beautifully said. Well, folks, there you have it, a deep dive into the heart of loneliness and the empowering message that we are not alone, even when it feels that way. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this episode. What resonated with you? What aha moments did you have? Share your insights with us on social media. Let's keep this conversation about connection, about belonging going.
Because together,
Right.
we can rewrite the tale of loneliness and create a world where everyone feels seen, heard, and deeply connected.